Hey everyone, welcome back to another Godzilla battling video, and today we are going over how to find in the expedition logs a ton of brand new units that are in Godzilla Battleline. I haven't done this video for 2 or 3 months at this point, so this is recapping the last few months of units, and we are going over Godzilla 04, which is Godzilla 2004 Final Wars, EVA Unit-01, the 4th Angel, Mechagodzilla 21, and I'm going over Kong and G21 as well, because yes, they've been in the game for quite some time at this point. However, this season in particular is the first time in a long time they're available in the expedition boxes, which means it's a lot of players' first times unlocking them. So I'm going to go over their expedition logs again. I will not be including Desghidorah and Hedorah in this video. They were made into leaders last month, but they're not new units. Desghidorah can't be found in expedition logs regularly, and Hedorah has been in the game since the launch of the game, so I'm not going to include her in here either. Now, you may be wondering, what are the expedition logs? There's a lot of new players that have joined the channel in the last 2-3 months between the EVA collab and Mechagodzilla coming to the game. So, these are the logs. When you start an expedition in your expedition screen and you get the little text blocks, for the longest time we thought that they didn't mean anything and they were just nonsense. But if you read the text block, right, it is a little story. And by the end of the story, it'll give you a hint on what monster is in your box, or one of the monsters that are in your box, right? So it'll be like the final few hints is usually whatever is the highest quality or rarest kind of monster. So if you have a 4-star in your gold expedition, then the 4-star is always what's going to be in your logs. The logs break down in a few simple ways. There are 8 entries total, and the first 2 entries mean nothing. They're just details on whatever environment the story takes place in, and all the stories can take place in all the environments. And then the entries 3, 4, and 5 tell you what category of monsters it is. Is it a ground-based monster? Is it a flying monster? Is it a machine monster? Is it a space monster? Is it a like a random monster that didn't have a category for? Because that is a category. It's just basically obscure random monsters. So categories, that tells you what categories it is. And then entries 6, 7, and 8 are the key identifiers, and that will tell you exactly what monster you have. Most monsters in this game have their own unique identifiers. There are only a handful, like a really small amount of monsters that share one-to-one logs 6, 7, and 8. We're going to go over one of them in this video. But most of the time, at least logs 8 and 7 are 8 or 7 or just 8 are different, right? These two and then this one. But sometimes they share the same. So that is how you find out what monster it is. It's not going to, you can't like manipulate the boxes to find a monster that you want, but you can kind of get a jump on figuring out what you're going to open if you go through the logs. And it's also a nice little bit of lore. There's not really a ton of lore in this game, so this is about as close as we're going to get. That being said, I'll go over the new monsters in order of appearance. So we will find Godzilla 2004. So I have everything listed here with little lines and stuff like a serial killer, so you can find what you're looking for. Here's Godzilla 04. Let's work backwards from there. So it doesn't matter what the top 2 of these are. It could be any of these top 2. And this goes for all the monsters in the game. Like I said, any of these top 2 doesn't matter, but the red is over the blue. It'll always be the same thing. So you're never going to see we'll deploy our equipment as carefully as we can under, the sand dunes. It's always going to be a dense forest into we'll deploy our equipment. It's never going to be a mix of these. It's always the red and then the blue 100% of the time. So Godzilla 04 starts out with, we have discovered colossal footprints stamped firmly into the ground. A thorough search will be conducted in the hopes of locating more. This is the identifier for ground-based units, right? Anything majorly ground, or even the Godzillas, I would dare to say. Bigger monsters, especially the Godzillas, get that line. And then it goes to the footprints stretch onwards. We'll use them as our guide, while keeping an ever-watchful eye on our surroundings. Into a thundering roaring out from up ahead. The footprints appear to be leading us straight to the source. Now, this can be literally a ton of these options. However, a majority of the Godzillas share this one right here. In addition to footprints, there are signs of a thick, heavy tail being dragged across the ground behind them. That is Godzilla. That is a Godzilla identifier, okay? If it has Godzilla in the name, there's a 90 or 80% chance that it comes from this text post. I almost said blog post. So let's follow it down to Godzilla 04. We found bite marks. The impressions of 2 rows of sharp, deadly fangs has sent my imagination spiraling. And then all of a sudden, a giant figure appeared before us. With a flash of its sharp fangs, it glared down at us, a truly fearsome look in its eye. Now, this is one of the monsters that has identical log posts to another. G89 has had these logs since day one of Godzilla Battleline. Godzilla 04, or G04, was added very recently over the summer, right? So, was it the summer? It's the winter. Whatever, the fall. When G04 was added, they didn't give him his own logs. They gave him Godzilla 89's logs. Now, if you find these logs, you know, that we just read out in a gold map, odds are it's probably going to be G89 because of the way that you find characters. Like, it's like a less than a 3% chance or something like that. Or maybe it is like a 3% chance or whatever to find him in a regular map or whatever. But if you had a legendary map, and that's what's important with the legendary monsters, if you have a legendary map and this is in your blog or the log, it's going to be him every time. He is the only legendary monster with this specific line of messages in the logs, but he is not the only monster to have it. So if you have a legendary map with these, it's going to be him 100% of the time. If you have any other kind of map with these logs, most of the time, I dare to say like 99% of the time, it's going to be G89. So that's something to keep in mind. And you know what? While we're down here, instead of having to come back later, we'll hit the other two characters on our list over here as well, Mechagodzilla and Godzilla 21. So Godzilla 21 also, you know, has the same exact path as G04. You know, in addition to the heavy footprints, there's a set heavy. In addition to the footprints, there are signs of a thick, heavy tail being dragged across the ground behind them. Ugh. Word vomit. All right, so then that will come all the way down to here. The creature responsible for the huge path of destruction must have headed towards the ocean in pursuit of something. Having found its target, the creature behind the destruction emerged suddenly from the sea. That is... Oh, this is going to mess me up right here. It's not straight. Can I not edit it? Oh, yeah, there we go. Bam. So, that is G21's logs. If you see these logs in any map, it is going to be G21 100% of the time. He's the only character that has the logs of the creature responsible for the huge path of destruction must have headed toward the ocean in pursuit of something. Having found its target, the creature behind the destruction emerged suddenly from the sea. That is G21. It will be G21 100% of the time, no matter what. Now, much like Godzilla 04, we have Mechagodzilla, MG21, I should say. He shares a similar line with Mechagodzilla. Now, I have some other lines over here. The orange, we can ignore the orange right now. The black is to track these guys. Well, everything is tracked by the black lines. However, this orange coming from here is for Space Godzilla. He's one of the only Godzillas that is not connected to the footprints and the tail being dragged behind, but he is connected to this log. We've seen that before really early in the game. But we're not talking about him. We're talking about the Mechagodzillas. So the Mechagodzillas both have, in addition to the footprints, there are signs of a thick, heavy tail being dragged across the ground behind them, like the rest of the Godzillas. And then it moves down to, as we inspected our surroundings, we discovered traces of what appeared to be electrical discharge. We must be nearing the target. Then a hulking figure appeared before us, a shining silver machine of monstrous proportions. Both Mechagodzilla 93 and Mechagodzilla 2021 share this identical log. We are in the same boat as G04 and G89. If you have a legendary map with this log, a hulking figure appeared before us, a silver machine of monstrous proportions, it's going to be Mechagodzilla 21 100% of the time, providing he's still available in the game when you get those logs, right? These are his logs. If you get this in any other expedition, odds are it's probably this Mechagodzilla. It's probably not going to be Mechagodzilla 2021. But if it's a legendary map, it will be him. So Mechagodzilla shares logs with Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla shares logs with Godzilla. And then this Godzilla is doing his own thing. We're proud of him for that one, following his own drumbeat. While we're here, we can talk about Kong. Kong also connects to a thunderous roar rang out from up ahead. The footprint appeared to be leading us straight to the source. Now, there are other characters here that are not Godzillas that have this as well, but we have like Kiryu here, and we have Ultima. Ultima is the only Godzilla so far, when this video comes out, that falls under this without going to the giant tail. Don't know why. Doesn't matter. Here's Kong. Most of the mammalian creatures are here, right? Anguirus, I guess Anguirus is kind of like a mammal, I don't know, but Caesar and Kong are here, so I'm going to count them. So a thundering roar rang out from up ahead. The footprint appeared to be leading us straight to the source. Then we come all the way down here, and Kong's begins with, following the footsteps, we spied the figure of a young girl for a mere moment. This is Gia from Godzilla vs. Kong. As we ventured in, we could hear the voice of the young girl chattering away. Except in this game, she's not mute. She can talk. The young girl was speaking enthusiastically to a gigantic monster multiple times her size, and it's Kong. So, Gia not lore accurate to the movie, because she can speak. But it is still a young girl and Kong, so that is how you find Kong in your logs. If there is any mention of a girl, it's him, or I'm sorry, a girl like running away and talking, then it's him. I believe the only other mention of a girl in the logs might be the psychic chorus, because some girls we met during our expedition began singing. But if it's a girl singing, it's psychic chorus. If it's a girl talking, it's Kong. So there you go. That's how you find the monkey. Who are we missing now? The EVA units? Alright, so scroll out. So we have we'll go to the fourth angel. He appears in this category that is kind of like miscellaneous monsters. I mean, look at this. We have like Biollante, Ultraman, Destroya, Manila, the Dorats, like a chorus. This is like pieces that didn't know really what category to put them in. It's like a random one. However, the fourth angel's logs will start with this. We have set out on our expedition, but are yet to encounter anything out of the ordinary. We progressing further in our search, it seems we have emerged into an open area. After investigating our surroundings for a short while, one of the soldiers called out, and that's when it breaks off into all these other things. Then we'll go all the way to this end and find the angel. The footprints disappeared, and beyond them lurked a huge shadow in the depths. Straining my eyes, I could see a faint red light floating ahead. A heavy thud echoed in the dark, and a strange figure, neither human nor monster, appeared. And that is the fourth angel, 100% at the time. He is a 3-star unit, not a 4-star unit, so this log will not be appearing in any of your legendary maps. However, it will be appearing in all your other maps. If you see this in, your rare, your deluxe, your mysterious, whatever the hell the expeditions are called, it's going to be him. It's going to be the fourth angel every time. Very good unit, and this is his little lore. So he's neither human nor monster. He's an angel. He's something else entirely. And finally, we'll go to Unit 1, which is over here, in the category of mechas. So you have like both Jet Jaguars, Super X, the bases, kids, Mogera, anything that's like slightly robotic, except for Mecha King Ghidorah and like the Mechagodzillas and Kiryu. And I guess Gigants could count, and the helicopters and the bomber. And everything else that's robotic, but it's not flying, or Godzilla, is in this category. Except I guess Zayton flies. And Super X flies. We're not going to get into the minutiae of how they separate it, but this is all robots. Or human-built stuff. I'm reading the freaking thing. So, it starts with, midway through our expedition, we were surprised to hear a mechanical noise in the distance, distinctive from the sound of nature we had grown familiar with. Could there be some kind of facility in this place? We move swiftly toward the sound. Relying on our ears to guide us, we investigate our surroundings. And that's when it splits off. If you have a legendary map, it could be Jet Jaguar. Either the Jet Jaguars, it could be Zayton, who we've discussed in a video before, or it could be Unit 1, and actually Zayton, providing they're still in the game whenever you get these logs. Unit 1's reads, we noticed that our surroundings were covered in some powdery substance as if a wave of sand had washed over this. We continued on to find felled trees in every direction. It was then that we were met by a huge humanoid being. A shadow suddenly blocked out the sun. The being rose to its feet as if reacting to the shadow and launched a furious attack in our direction. So that is a reference, obviously, to the leader ability and like some of the sand from I think it's from the rebuilds. But there's Unit 1. That's the logs for Unit 1. So that is all of the logs for the units that I have not covered in a video, but now we have. So we got Godzilla 04, EVA Unit 1, the Fourth Angel, Mechagodzilla 2021, G21, and Kong. I will provide a link to this chart in the description of this video. It's also linked on my channel. It's linked in the Discord. Anywhere that you can find me, this is also there. And you can scroll through and read all the lore if you want and like see what's up and, go through all the logs and see who you get. And it's just like, it's not going to help you manipulate the odds in any capacity, but it's just fun to know like what you're going to get or try to guess and stuff like that. So I like it. I tracked it all for you. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. If you want to use it, it'll be linked down in the description below. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you learned something, especially if you're new to the game, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.